What do these popular German sites have in common? Cologne Cathedral, Berlin's Museum Island, the old town of Regensburg, Neuschwanstein Castle, and these castles on the Rhine River. The answer? They're all UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Germany has 55 of them. Let's take a look at some of the most remarkable. We start in Bavaria with Germany's newest UNESCO members, Neuschwanstein Castle, Herrenchiemsee Palace, Linderhof Palace and the King's House on Schachen. These properties received UNESCO status in 2025. The palaces were commissioned by Bavarian King Ludwig II, who took the throne in 1864. The introverted king probably wouldn't have liked their present-day fame. He wanted them to be private retreats where he could escape from tedious affairs of state. King Ludwig II's obsession with the Middle Ages inspired the design of Neuschwanstein Castle, giving it the appearance of a storybook knight's fortress. Set against the alpine backdrop, the castle later inspired Disney's iconic fairy tale castle. Linderhof Palace is completely different. It's a small, cheerful palace in the Rococo style, a nod to the Bavarian king's role model, France's Sun King Louis XIV. Linderhof is the only one of these palaces that was completed during Ludwig's lifetime, and the only one he ever lived in, alone of course. The most remote of Ludwig's residences is the King's House on Schachen, located at about 1,800 meters in the Wetterstein Mountains. Ludwig reportedly had himself carried up in a sedan chair, but you can reach it on foot after a hike of roughly 3 to 4 hours. It's not exactly a castle, but rather a mountain dwelling in the style of a Swiss chalet. Don't be fooled by the simple exterior or the rustic furnishings of the living quarters. There's luxury here too. The Turkish Hall was inspired by an 18th century palace built for Ottoman Sultan Selim III. Ludwig celebrated his birthday here every year by sealing himself off from the rest of the world. No guests were invited. Perhaps he should have left it at these 3 construction projects, but he continued, building Herrenchiemsee Palace, which he modelled after the Palace of Versailles in Paris. It cost more to build than Neuschwanstein and Linderhof combined. Ludwig died heavily in debt in 1886, and his palaces were opened to the public almost immediately. They have enchanted visitors ever since. Nearly 2 million people a year visit his romantic residences in Bavaria. Our next UNESCO site is best admired by boat, on a 65-kilometer journey along the Rhine from Bingen to Koblenz. Few stretches are as beautiful, which is why the Upper Middle Rhine Valley is known as the Romantic Rhine. Here the river carves deep into the landscape, with picturesque towns lining its banks. Rising above them are around 40 castles, palaces and fortresses, one of the highest concentrations of castles in Europe. Why so many? It all comes down to money. In the Middle Ages, the Rhine served as a major trade route, and local lords were quick to take advantage. They built castles along the river to collect tolls from passing ships. What looks like a romantic castle today was once a serious profit-making operation. Long before that, the Romans brought viticulture to the Rhine, and it still shapes the landscape. An excellent Riesling ripens on the steep slopes that you should try. But perhaps not in Rudesheimer's famous Drosselgasse alleyway, which can get very crowded. Every year, hundreds of thousands of tourists are drawn to this section of the Rhine, thanks to its stunning landscapes, rich culture and layered history. In 2002, UNESCO put the Upper Middle Rhine Valley on its list of World Heritage Sites. Next up, Regensburg, a Bavarian city on the Danube that has 2 UNESCO World Heritage recognitions. Its medieval old town was honoured in 2006, and in 2021 the city's Roman-era Danube frontier was awarded status. The city began as a fortress for about 6,000 Roman soldiers. One of its original gates, the Porta Praetoria, still stands today. Regensburg was part of the Danube limes, the border fortifications of the Roman Empire. The city saw a major boom in the Middle Ages thanks to the stone bridge. It was the only bridge in the area that allowed long-distance traders to cross the Danube safely all year, which made the city wealthy. This prosperity allowed the people of Regensburg to build their cathedral, a masterpiece of Gothic architecture. Prepare to be impressed when you step inside. The stained glass windows dating from the 13th and 14th centuries are all originals, since Regensburg was largely spared from bombing during World War II. With over 1,000 historic buildings, Regensburg is one of the best preserved medieval cities in Germany. From here, we head to Berlin. Museum Island sits in the heart of Berlin, surrounded by the River Spree. Comprised of 5 museums, it was given UNESCO World Heritage Site status in 1999. An island for art. The idea came about around 200 years ago. The Prussian kings wanted to make their art collections accessible to the public. The Altes Museum was the first to be completed. The entrance hall was modelled on the Pantheon in Rome. The works here date from Roman and Greek antiquity. The Neues Museum was the second to open on Museum Island. Inside you'll find works from ancient Egypt, including the star attraction, the bust of Queen Nefertiti. It's over 3,000 years old and admired for its timeless beauty and elegance. The next museum to open was the Alte Nationalgalerie. Here you'll find paintings and sculptures from the 19th century. The colonnaded courtyard in front is a picturesque place to take a break from your art marathon. From the Border Museum, you have a great view of Museum Island. This museum holds sculptures from the early Middle Ages through the Renaissance to the Baroque period. The Pergamon Museum is currently closed for renovation and is not expected to reopen parts of the main building until spring 2027. It houses some of the largest exhibits on Museum Island, including the Ishtar Gate of Babylon and the Pergamon altar, which are so large the museum was originally built around them. Around 2.5 million people visit Museum Island in Berlin every year. That's a lot, but it's not the most visited UNESCO site on our list. That's Cologne Cathedral. Around 6 million people visit this impressive cathedral every year, making it the most visited tourist attraction in Germany. The cathedral was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1996. It's recognized as an exceptional example of Gothic architecture. Doesn't it look like it was built all at once? That's the real marvel, since it took 6 centuries to complete, with long interruptions. Yet the builders stuck to the original 13th century design, which was ambitious to say the least. The towers were designed to reach 157 meters, higher than anything else in the Middle Ages. When the cathedral was finally completed in 1880, it was still the tallest church in the world. This shrine was the driving force behind this major construction project. It is said to house the bones of the 3 kings, the wise men who, according to Christian tradition, were the first to recognize the newborn Jesus and offer him precious gifts. Their relics hold immense symbolic significance, and to honor them properly, a new and unprecedented church was commissioned. Construction began in 1248. wraps up our exploration of 5 of Germany's most stunning UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Which ones have you visited? And which UNESCO listed places can be found in your country? Leave a comment and let us know.